good y'all? Welcome back to another F1 video. Yeah, sound like I was getting ready to grow up, straining. Welcome back. But welcome back to another video. So also with the sad news about Nick DeVries a few days ago about getting dumped by AlphaTauri, I decided chess. There were some other drivers who got dumped halfway through the season. So this is what this video is. To check out 10 F1 drivers, 10, who got dumped midway through the season. Shout out to Autosport as always. And looking forward to it. Should be very, very good. Now listen, these are gonna be kind of sad because it's like, damn, like he got cut midway through the season, like he couldn't finish the season. But it's important to know why these drivers got dumped, how it happened, and stuff like all of that. But as always, don't forget to like the video and sub as well if you are new to the channel. Yeah, let's get it right. Let's get it.
Formula One can be a ruthless business, and sometimes teams run out of patience with even the most high profile of drivers, cutting them loose earlier than planned. Today, Red Bull is the only organisation we associate with such drastic action in modern F1. But as this list shows,
if I'm missing anybody from like a year or two ago, let me know.
So let's begin.
This
10,
from like 3 years ago.
Jan Magnussen, Stewart, 1998.
Dang.
Kevin's dad was hailed as the next Senna when he was dominating British Formula 3 in 1994, and as a result he was picked up by McLaren. He made one start for the team in 95, filling in for the unwell Mika Hakkinen at the Pacific Grand Prix, and eventually chose to flee the McLaren nest to take up a full-time drive with Stewart for 1997. There were no points in that first season, but when Magnussen finally got off the mark in the Canadian Grand Prix the following year, it turned out to be his last race in F1.
Oh no.
The team had already fueled speculation about Magnussen's future when it admitted after the San Marino Grand Prix that his position was under review race by race. And at that stage, initial talks with Jos Verstappen about replacing the Dane had broken down.
That's crazy. So K-Mag's dad was finna get replaced by Mac's dad. Imagine the discussions between K-Mag and like Max. Oh yeah, man. Well, did you know my dad, took your dad's job? Like, that's tough.
2 months later, terms were agreed with Verstappen, and Magnussen's
it's like
F1
taking
career was over.
Your homeboy's girlfriend from him.
Stewart cited Magnussen's deficit to Rubens Barrichello in qualifying as the main reason for making the change, believing Magnussen was given enough chances to show the improvement required. Magnussen, who was famously unimpressed with Jackie Stewart once giving him a road car passenger ride to show him where he was going wrong, hit back at the team following his departure, accusing it of only being able to run one car properly.
Dang. Now some
Number
saltiness.
9, Cristiano da Matta, Toyota.
I was going to say Ronaldo for a second.
When da Matta put pressure on his Toyota bosses to decide which of its 2004 drivers would partner new signing Ralf Schumacher the following year, he wasn't expecting to be dumped from the team just weeks later. But Toyota decided to give test driver Ricardo Zonta a chance to shine over the final part of 04, saying da Matta lost out as teammate Olivier Panis had taken the team's best result and scored more points up to that point.
It'd be like that though.
Number 8,
Cristiano.
Haley Alboreto, Tyrrell, 1989.
89, Miguel.
Alboreto was 6 races into his new life at Tyrrell after leaving Ferrari when he was replaced for the French Grand Prix by Formula 3000 star Jean Alesi.
You know about
The reason given at the time was Tyrrell signing a deal with major sponsor Camel, which clashed with Alboreto's personal relationship with rival tobacco brand Marlboro. Alboreto arrived in France ahead of the race weekend, but felt he was being pressured into breaking his personal sponsor deal, with Ken Tyrrell stating that the seat was his to reclaim if he wanted it. But after the following race at Silverstone, Alboreto declared the relationship over, saying there was an issue with each side's interpretation of their agreement and hinting that there was something more to it than the sponsor clash. That suspicion was backed up when Alboreto then signed a deal to race for Camel-sponsored LaRousse for the rest of the year.
Hey.
Number 7, Nick Heidfeld, Renault.
But wasn't that Team Camel? Like... let's keep going. I'm confused about my boy Michel.
2011.
Nick.
Heidfeld earned a late call-up to the F1 grid for 2011 with the Lotus Renault team following Robert Kubica's horrific rally crash during pre-season, but he only held on to the seat for 11 races. Things started well enough with a podium second time out in Malaysia, but by the time Heidfeld's car went up in flames at the Hungarian Grand Prix, Renault was keen to make a change.
Dang, because of that?
Renault wanted to give the seat to Bruno Senna, who Heidfeld had earned the drive ahead of at the start of the year, but the German put up an intense legal challenge to the move, meaning it was only initially confirmed for the Belgian Grand Prix. Before the matter could reach a court hearing in mid-September,
the second time he had some legal
Renault
stuff.
and Heidfeld agreed a settlement to bring the messy affair to an end. Number 6.
Now, so if Renault wanted Bruno Senna, but Nick took his spot during preseason, obviously Nick did something to impress them more than Senna. But it felt like they never really wanted to dump Bruno Senna. So my thing is, if you didn't want to, why didn't y'all just end up keeping him, right? Am I making sense? Capiche?
Jacques Villeneuve, BMW 2006.
Whoa!
Villeneuve skipping the 2003 finale with VAR doesn't quite make this list, because ultimately it was his decision to walk away from the team a race early after learning he would not be retained for 2004. BMW said Villeneuve missed the 2006 Hungarian Grand Prix because he was still recovering from his crash at the previous race in Germany, but his manager Craig Pollock disputed that, claiming it was an excuse for the team to try out Robert Kubica in a race situation that evaluated him taking Villeneuve's seat for 2007. When BMW announced the day after that race that it had split with the 97 world champion, Villeneuve complained that he had been given no assurances about regaining his drive for the rest of the year. The team said it was happy with Villeneuve's performances, but it did admit it was unable to give him any guarantees about his future, with Kubica waiting in the wings.
Damn.
Number 5. Michael Andretti, McLaren 1993. Andretti's switch from IndyCar to Formula 1 with McLaren was unquestionably a disaster.
The Jack one's funny, he's an epic.
Strangely ended on a high note. After a forgettable incident-packed season, Andretti was set to be moved aside by McLaren for the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. However, thanks to some persuasion from his father Mario to let Andretti race in the country that is such an important part of the family's heritage, the 1991 IndyCar champion got one more start and finished on the podium.
That's pretty good.
By that point, even Andretti knew the game was up and that he'd be making way for Mika Häkkinen for the rest of the season.
My boy.
In the end, the official reason given for him leaving was that McLaren released him early so he could sign an IndyCar contract with Chip Ganassi for 1994. Häkkinen then admitted after making his first start for the team in Portugal that he'd been promised a chance to race at some point in the year, so perhaps once Ayrton Senna decided at the last minute to race for the team in 93, Andretti was doomed from the start.
Yeah.
Number 4. Jarno Trulli, Renault 2004.
Trulli!
This one ranks so highly on our list because of how quickly things unravelled.
That was Fernando's teammate, right?
He went from scoring his maiden win in Monaco in May to being axed by the team just 9 races later after a string of disappointing results that Renault felt had cost it second in the Constructors' Championship to BAR. Team boss Flavio Briatore accused Trulli of failing to give 100% once he knew he was not staying with the team for 2005, calling him lazy and saying he had to fire the Italian out of respect for the rest of the staff at the team. Trulli, who had failed to score another point after being mugged for 3rd place at the end of the French Grand Prix, blamed the Renault car and felt vindicated when his replacement Jacques Villeneuve struggled in his 3 appearances.
Jacques Villeneuve.
Number 3.
Now, I think when people, I guess, deep divers, for instance, are finding out like they aren't going to get kept after a season, part of me is like, listen, the Spanish season now strong, you know, hopefully you get like another spot next season with a team, stuff like that. So, you know, it is kind of messed up how they are telling you with like a few races to go. Like, go back to it's like I think Haas had a similar situation. I think when K-Mag at first, if I'm correct, I think they were going to dump K-Mag. And they told K-Mag, like, hey, my guy, like, we're not going to keep you, basically. I saw them drive to survive. But the other half of me is like, damn. So like, if you really are like, like if my guy is gonna like take my spot is basically like in the garage with stuff like that, do I really care about the rest of the season? To be honest, no, because like you guys aren't keeping me anyway. So it's like whatever I do,
Moreno,
I might get kept anyway. You know what I mean? So
the
it's
story
like
of Moreno being shoved aside at Benetton isn't really about the little Brazilian. It's about the man he made way for, Michael Schumacher. Schumacher had only a few seconds of Grand Prix racing under his belt from his short-lived debut with Jordan at the Belgian Grand Prix, when his management spotted a loophole in his agreement with the Silverstone-based team and used it to jump ship to Benetton.
Hey,
however,
the game.
Moreno took legal action given he had a contract in place, and Benetton paid him $500,000 as settlement of his contract, including compensation.
Ka-ching.
Moreno quickly found his way into the seat Schumacher vacated at Jordan, but only for 2 races before he finished the year with Minardi. Number 2, Daniil Kvyat, Red Bull 2016.
Yeah.
The Kvyat Red Bull story keeps on giving, to the point that he's now being touted as a potential replacement for Pierre Gasly at Red Bull Racing if the Frenchman fails to hang on to that drive. Following a calamitous start to the 2016 Russian Grand Prix, which prompted Sebastian Vettel to have a very public conversation with his former bosses on the pit wall, Kvyat was demoted back to Toro Rosso, in the process making way for Max Verstappen. Verstappen then won on his debut for Red Bull at the Spanish Grand Prix, while Kvyat hung on to his drive at the B team until towards the end of 2017. He was let go by Red Bull entirely for 2018, taking up a reserve role with Ferrari.
That's pretty nice.
To miraculously be recalled to drive for Toro Rosso again in 2019.
Ooh.
Who knows, perhaps in a future edition of this list, he'll be the first man to have been dropped by the same team twice. Number 1, Alain Prost, Ferrari 1991.
The heated battles.
When Prost confirmed he would stay with Ferrari for 1992 before the Italian Grand Prix, it was barely considered newsworthy, with the most notable fact being his admission that he'd had talks with Ligier. In the background, there were moves afoot by some in Ferrari to make Prost the team boss alongside his role as lead driver. But politics were rife within the team, so that proposal was not met with universal approval. Weeks after that confirmation for 1992, Prost was publicly criticising Ferrari, saying he was unable to take a tyre gamble in the changeable conditions of the Spanish Grand Prix because of the stupid pressure Ferrari was under.
Jeez.
Stories emerged around the same time that Michael Andretti was being offered a drive by Ferrari, despite Prost and Jean Alesi both being under contract for 92. The American couldn't take up the offer as he'd already signed a deal to stay with Newman Haas in the States. At the Japanese Grand Prix, Prost made his famous truck comment about the car that supposedly got him fired by Ferrari, although over time it's been forgotten that this was a reference to the fact that his power steering had failed in the race. By now there were stories that Ferrari had signed Ivan Capelli for 1992, and on the Tuesday before the season finale in Australia, Prost was out, with Gianni Morbidelli making a one-off appearance for the team in his place. Things didn't work out that well for Capelli.
There he is.
He lost his drive with Ferrari with 2 races to go the following season.
So Ferrari was just in some they're just in some crap. The K-Mag, the one is funny just because of the little, it's not funny that he got fired, but it's just between K-Mag and Max. My dad took your dad. See some legal battles. We've seen some guys who found some loopholes. Schumacher found some guys who got fired because they simply just weren't good enough. They were all pretty interesting, and unfortunately sucks. But it is part of F1, and it is what it is. But on that note, hope you guys did enjoy the list, the video. Don't forget to like and sub. What was your favorite one from the list? Talk to you guys later, man. Peace.